All right, you have 2 pages for your interactive notebook. The first one looks like this, and it's all dealing with making wholes or whole numbers, or the whole number 1. So you're only going to cut around the dark black lines, and you'll need to cut those apart so that we can open and close. And your glue will go on the section that has your directions right here, your title. The other page that we're going to do that deals with whole numbers looks like this. You'll see the whole number 1. By the way, all of these fractions that we put, because they're equal to 1, that makes all of these fractions equivalent to each other. So when we're finished with these, you'll see that they are all equivalent fractions. And I'm going to show you a little method to check that to make sure. All right, so let's start with this one. And this is going on the very next page behind my notes that we took on number lines. There's our notes and our number lines. So it says, a half of the shape is shown. Draw to show what the whole looks like. So if this is representing half, I would need 2 of these pictures to make the whole. So this half has 4 sections in it. So 4 parts make half. So I would need to double that to make the whole. So I'm going to draw those 4 parts inside. There's half. And then to make the whole, I need to draw those 4 parts again. And this would be a whole. If half is 4, then the whole would have to be 8. Half made 4 pieces, so I would need to double that to get the whole. That whole picture would look like 8 square pieces. All right, this is also half of the shape. So if this is half, I need to draw 2 of them, because that's what half means. It means part of 2 whole pieces. So if that picture is half, I need to draw this picture twice to turn it into the whole. So I'll let you finish the other half that goes here. So 1 square is half. Think about how many you would need to draw to make the whole. And this one up here, if 2 squares is half, what would you draw to make the whole? Okay, now we'll move on to this third one here. So you finish your halves. There are 4 that say half. So this right here is a third. So this would be 1 out of 3 pieces. That's what 1/3 means. It means 1 out of 3. So this is 1 piece. To draw the whole, I would need 3 of these pieces. So I'm going to draw 1 of the pieces. This is 1 piece. Remember, 1 piece out of 3. That's what a third means. It means 1 out of 3. So I need to do this picture 3 times to make the whole. I'm trying to make them equal with one hand. It's kind of hard. So 1, 2, 3. 3 of those thirds would make the whole picture. So on this one, when it says 4th, remember what a 4th looks like. So this picture is 1 piece out of a total of 4. So I would need to draw this picture 4 times. This is 1/6. So that means this 1 picture is 1 piece out of 6 total. So I would need to draw this picture 6 times to make the whole. Same thing on this one. This picture is 1 out of 6 pieces. So I would need to draw this picture 6 times to get that 6 total. So finish this page on your own, making your whole. Remember, your denominator tells you how many times to draw your picture, because your denominator is your total. Right? Over here, When you are making the whole, that means you want the entire cake. You want the entire pizza. You want the entire candy bar. You want all of it. You want that one whole picture. To make a whole picture, you have to have a numerator and a denominator that match. So if this was my picture, if this was my pizza, it would have 3 parts. And I would need all 3 to get the whole pizza. If it was a bar graph, a candy bar, right? 3 pieces, I would need all 3 of those 3 pieces to make that whole, to get the whole thing. So your numerator and your denominator have to match. I'm going to write that here. Numerator and denominator O-M-I-N-A-T. I can't spell it today. Denominator must match. To equal one whole, your numerator and your denominator have to match. So let's look at this fraction. If I wanted the whole thing and I took 4 pieces, what does that mean? It means you had to have, if I took 4 pieces to equal the whole thing, there had to be 4 pieces. So it would be 4 over 4 equals 1 whole. And that's just a picture to represent. So this would have to be 4 fourths. Since the denominator is 10, if I want the whole thing, my numerator and my denominator have to match. So this would be 10 tenths. If my numerator is 2, and my numerator and denominator have to match, then my denominator has to also be 2. 2 halves is 1 whole. To make a whole, 1 whole, your numerator and denominator have to match. Now remember I told you, so we know how to do the rest of these. 9 9s, 8 8s, 12 12s, right? They have to match. So I told you that when you were finished, all of these fractions would be equivalent fractions, and I'm going to prove that to you. So I'm going to take this 4 fourths that we said was 1. I'm going to go down here and pull this 8 eighths that we said was 1. Now, if they're both equal to 1, then that means these 2 fractions have to be equal too, right? Because I'm taking the whole thing. So this is called, I call it the butterfly method to check. Other places call this the cross multiply method. It's the same thing. The reason I call it a butterfly method is if you cross your denominators and numerators, it kind of looks like butterfly wings. Like I could draw his little body and his antenna here, right? And it looks like a butterfly. So I call this the butterfly method. So we make our little butterflies and we go bottom up and multiply. So 4 times 8. This is how we're going to check it, is 32. And look at the other side. 8 times 4 is also 32. So both sides of my butterfly match. We get 32 when we multiply the bottom up. 32 when we multiply bottom up. Since I can cross multiply and they equal 32, 32, then I know these 2 fractions are definitely equivalent. I could check any of these fractions that you have on this page and they would all be equal. Let's try 12 twelfths and 2 halves. Let's see if they're equal. Bottom up and multiply. 12 times 2 is 24. Bottom up and multiply. 2 times 12 is also 24. So both sides get 24. They are definitely equivalent. All of the fractions on this page, once you finish it, are equivalent fractions because every single one of them is equal to 1 whole. Remember, when your numerator and denominator match, it equals 1 whole.